We're talking about understanding men. We're talking about getting started with some fun facts. And then we'll get into this concept that's really been important in this process I've been in it for my own life in the last 30 days. I kind of like to, my philosophy being a coach for the last decade plus has always been like, I'm on the journey with you. I'm just like 10% ahead of you. You know, it's maybe for some of you a little bit, but I'm you and I've been versions of you, right? In my own life. And so, what I want to talk about today in terms of understanding men is from this work that I've been doing myself in the last few months that I think is really going to be relevant. So, first of all, fun facts about men. Number one is that it is true, it is a fact that men think about sex or sexual related thoughts every 7 seconds. So that might give you some understanding that Alison Armstrong said, who's a pioneer in dating coaching. She I can't even remember the name of her course now, but when I first started, she was just like the queen, and I'm sure she still does stuff. But one thing that she said that I thought was really brilliant was that women need to remember that men are not just hairy women, right? They are wired differently. And so when we understand that men are not hairy women, that they actually are different than us, that is a huge, huge thing, because I think that for so many of us, when we want to understand men, we want to understand them in the construct of how we think, like as if they were our friend, right? Our girlfriend or something. Okay. So they think about sex every 7 seconds. And then the other thing is that men use, and this came from a long time ago from the work Matt Boggs did, because he's a former scientist, biologist back in the day. And so this is 7,000 words used by men a day, 21,000 by women, right? So when we get mad at men for not talking or not expressing, and why are they always, thinking about sex, or why do they always want to get in my pants? Why is it always about sex? It's also to understand that's just who they are as humans, right? That their wiring, the way they are neurobiologically wired, is different. So how can we understand that when we are in the process of dating, of being in a relationship? It's almost like you had a cat or a dog and you were like, why are they being a cat, right? Why are they being a dog? Or when you're around children and you're like, oh, well, they're just, right? You have an understanding for their come from, right? And that allows you to have a deeper understanding. And I think one of the things that I really want for you to know in understanding men is that if you take responsibility for creating experiences where there's mutual understanding, where you really want to understand this person and they really want to understand you, then that is a really great garden, right, for a potential healthy relationship. So that being said, what I want you to kind of think about today is wherever you are in your journey, whether you are single, whether you're not dating, whether you're dating, whether you're in a new relationship, whether you're in a committed relationship, we can get really caught up in the frustration of what's not working, of our past mistakes, of what is not going the way we want it to. And one of the things that I think has really become present for me in my own work in the last month or two around expanding gratitude is that one of the principles we have on our campus, we call it a mastery orientation to life. It's a paradigm whereby there are no mistakes, and that we are always growing and learning, and that we put the focus on the one thing that we can have agency over, which is ourselves, right? And so we're not really measuring our success by achieving or winning or obtaining something, like that old definition of success where you hit a goal and you're like, okay, performance orientation, I got a guy, got a second date, I got a boyfriend, like therefore I am good, therefore I win. So in a mastery orientation, the journey is just as valuable as the destination. So one of the things I really want for you guys to focus on this week is this idea of gratitude for the duality in your life, a gratitude and wonder at the perfection of the journey, right? Because for the duality of those things that did not work, the dark in your life, often it allows us to course correct. It is showing us something that we need to heal, that we need to shift, that we need to change, that we need to release, that we need to let go of. That duality is there to give you that direction, right? Which ultimately lands you in this place of greater awareness, greater expansion, wherever it is that you are. Hi guys who are just joining. Whoever was here from the beginning, you can like do a catch up. We're talking about understanding men. We're talking about understanding that they're different from us, and then we're really looking at focusing this week on a master orientation of gratitude for the duality of the daily things that we have in our life that are the dark, so that we can appreciate the light. The dark in our lives that has shown us an adjustment that needs to be made so that we could be in the light, that we could be where we are. One of the myths I want to really bust, and I was reminded of that in preparation for this today, is that we're not meant to be happy all the time, right? So if that is your performance oriented way of defining success, that I would be happy all the time, that I would everything my way, I would never have emotions other than peace and joy, that's just not realistic, right? So you're setting yourself up for failure. You're living in a paradigm where you can never win that way, right? So if we appreciate, if we have gratitude for the duality of life, that we can know great pains, because the depths of that allows us to have great joy. And that is our life. And all of those moments in your dating story, in your relationships, that have caused you to really take stock and take responsibility and allow you to adjust and to come at it with a mastery orientation where I'm just assessing. I'm not judging. I'm not a horrible human. I'm not a failed person. I'm not unlovable or unworthy because these things happen. The universe is trying to show us something that we are meant to see, and that is the duality and the amazingness of life. So what would it look like if you could expand your gratitude for that duality? If you could expand your gratitude so that when things are not going as you prefer, that you are able to have that mastery orientation, and then that will allow you to put the focus on what it is that you can take control of, which is yourself. And when you can put the agency in your own hands and be empowered and ask yourself high quality questions like we talk about here all the time, then you can be in your adult self, and then you can either understand that men are different from us and from you, and that you can be empowered to ask the questions that you need to ask, that you cannot take things personally when it does not work out, that you can express who you really are in an authentic way underneath all the layers of guardedness and entanglements. And that when those moments of challenge or conflict are present, that rather than pushing away from it or avoiding it or shaming yourself for it, that you just have this gratitude that this is life and that it's showing you something and that you have this opportunity, right? And then the roller coaster of this dating and relationship, or being in a relationship, or even life, right? It doesn't feel, the experience that you will have of it, let me say that, can be more even, and that you can find peace in the challenge. When you can understand that and understand yourself, then you can actually be present to have a deeper understanding of your dating situation, of men that you're meeting, and all of those things. And that's really what's important, is that the pieces in your life that have happened, the darkness, right? That is the seedlings for what it is that you can dive into to release yourself from that and actually begin anew, right? That's the opportunity. That's what we do when we work with people, right? We're like, okay, we appreciate that, we have gratitude for everything that's happened, because it's basically, sorry, there's some dust or something floating around here. I'm like, I really want to scratch my nose. That is the duality that we can leverage to create massive change, right? So how can you do that in your own life? How can you expand your ability for gratitude in those experiences that have been the challenges, so that you can, from an adult place, from your highest self, from your executive function of your adult brain, make assessments and make adjustments. This is my wish for you. This is your homework, is how can I expand my gratitude for the duality of life today? And what does that mean to you? So I look forward to your answers. Mwah! See you next time. Bye.